Hello, FlossTube Stitchers. This is Shelly at Just Stitching, doing a little bit of catching up on this last day of January. And I can't believe January went by so fast, but it's funny because we're still receiving Christmas cards that were mailed early to mid-December. So I felt like, well, maybe it's not such a weird thing to be talking about Christmas right now, but I have some cards I wanted to show you and to read some messages. But the title of this video is, I think, going to be Technology is Great. And it is great in a lot of ways. If it weren't for technology, we wouldn't have FlossTube. We wouldn't be watching finishing tutorials and craft tour videos and get to know each other this way. And I wouldn't have met so many lovely stitchers who have turned out to be so encouraging and supportive for a small business like mine. So it's very much appreciated. But I wish I had $1 for every time I said, yeah, technology is great when it works. So there are some technology issues that have popped up that I thought I would just spend a few minutes talking about too. But as far as the cards go, so I got a lot more, but I just wanted to narrow it down to a few different types of relationships. So the first card is from one of our local customers, Jamie B. And I'm just going to say the first initial. And she's been taking advantage of mail order because she doesn't live real close. And it kind of started during quarantine when we were actually closed. But she always sends a handmade card with her check. So I thought that was really cute. And it says, Shelly, have a great holiday. Looking forward to coming out soon. Then the next card is from a designer, and it was my first one from her, and you'll see why. But isn't that pretty? I think it should be stitched, but I know there's copyright involved, but it's so pretty. It looks like something that should be a cross-stitch design. So Shelly and the Just Stitching team. That's me, myself, and I guess. I mean, I did have helpers at one point, and they'll come back eventually, but I just thought that was cute that she said team. The card actually says, wishing you all the blessings of the season, but her handwritten note says, may your holidays be merry and bright. Thank you for helping make my first year in business such a joy. Here's to many more years working together. All the best, Liz Matthews. So I don't know if everyone that ordered from her got a card or if it was people that hosted her trunk show or whatnot. But anyway, it was a surprise, and so I loved getting a card from a designer. Then there are people that send cards in addition to maybe emailing thank you or whatever, but they actually send a card thanking me when they win a giveaway. So this is one of those. And this is from Lisa H. And it says, Dear Shelly, thank you for the bundle of X-Jude Christmas floss I won from your giveaway. I love it and I enjoy your channel very much. Happy holidays. And then here's another thank you from Julie V. Oh, let me show you the card because it's so pretty. Look, it matches. Thank you so much for the Merry Christmas flosses. So that was from the same giveaway. I just love them. I'm using the red right now on a Valentine piece. Thank you for the wonderful service you give. And then, so glad I was able to meet you and visit your shop when my son and family lived in Ohio. I have enjoyed our contacts through the years. So she also sent me a Starbucks card for Christmas. Now, I've already used this several weeks ago, but I just added it to my app. So that's why the card is still there. But it says, thank you for all you do for the stitching community. You're a very special person, and I love receiving packages from you. Have a great holiday season. So that was really unexpected and really sweet, and she probably remembered that I've mentioned Starbucks a few times, so that was really enjoyable. And the day I used it, I just thought of her all day. So that was really sweet. And then my framer surprised me a few weeks ago. We used to exchange gifts, And we kind of got out of the habit, I think, because Christmas is stressful for both of us anyway, just being business women, and she has deadlines to meet and that sort of thing. And also because, we don't need anything. But anyway, she said she saw this and thought of me. She knows I like snowmen. So it's a little porcelain pin. So that was just a really nice surprise. All right, so the ways technology have been frustrating. I have a couple. So I have found out through customers who I have trouble getting in touch with that their Facebook messages are being sent to Instagram. And I don't know why that's happening, because they've told me they don't even have an Instagram account. But they're trying to direct message me through Facebook, and it's showing up in Instagram. And I have issues with Instagram. I do not like their messaging system. They've got 3 different ways that you can receive a message, and you have to accept it first, and then it goes in primary or general or whatever. So another problem I'm having is that newsletters are somehow defaulting to my iCloud email account that I didn't even know I had. So I figured it out eventually that when I send a newsletter, it automatically comes up, which this just started like 2 months ago. It comes up that it's being sent from my iCloud account. And I don't know that I need to change it. There's 3 accounts, so I need to change it to something else. But I didn't even know I had the iCloud, so I wasn't changing it. So then when customers are responding back to that newsletter, trying to order something or ask a question or sign up for an automatic, their responses are going to the iCloud account, which is all the way at the bottom of all the choices that I don't even see when my screen is open. There were 15 messages that I hadn't seen, and they all, I think, except for the welcome to iCloud from probably a couple years ago or whenever that happened, all the other messages were responses to newsletters. So at least I figured out that that's how it was happening. A customer helped me figure that out. Thanks, Scott. Okay, and then the other technology issue is I post every day on Instagram, and I'm running out of my own photos to show because I've been on for 3 years, and I've shown basically all of our shop models except for new ones that are trickling in, but we don't get them that quickly. So a lot of times I like to show the designer's model. And so I'll go to their page or whatever they're showing on Facebook when they're announcing something new, and I do always credit that it's their photo. But when I go back to find it later to use it, it's not just last Tuesday. It actually sorts it in my photo library by the date that the designer took the photo, which could have been 5 years ago. That is not fun, trying to find those. It's just so weird. Like, why does it do that? Not all of them do it, but they've done it lately, and it's been really frustrating. I didn't mean to rant for that long. Okay, so let's catch up a little bit. I'm just going to show you some more autos and a few straggler charts that have been on back order for a while. So this is the March sampler of the month from the Country Cottage series. So then we had an auto from Hands On Design, and the first one is called First Frost, and there's 2 designs in there. And this is another way that technology is so great, because she does videos that show finishing tutorials and gives a lot of history and just the story behind how a design comes to be. So if you're not watching her, you're really missing out on something. So that's really, they're rectangular, so you can also do them as a picture if you don't want to do that snowman shape. Then she has Hop On In, which is very cute. And with this needle ivy thread, so clever. And it comes with the charms that you need. All right, and then here are some that I've just been waiting for to come on back order from the distributors. Cottage Garden Sampling, this is the first one in a series called It's Snow Time. This, I believe, is, I think this is going to be a monthly because the second one is Valentine's Day. I don't have it yet, but it was ordered. It's a lot of stitching. It's a lot of white, but darn it, I need to stitch him because he would look really nice in my house. All right, and then I don't know why, but the Homespun Elegance ornaments were not all available at the same time. Maybe she didn't release them at the same time, or maybe the distributors just ran out early, but I've been waiting for the Santa for a while. So that is Santa Loves Stitchers. All right, a little late, but still hilarious. Merry Christmas from Madame Chantilly. So they're wearing their medical masks. She's got both versions so that if you don't want to do it with the funny mask, you can use that for any year. All right, and then Manny Dodonna, December 25th pillow. I'm pretty sure I haven't shown you that before because this came as a back order. And 'Tis the Season pillow. All right, now on to my finishes, and I'm going to show them out of order, not that you know when I worked on them, but I want to get one of these big ones out of the way. This is one of the 4 designs, I think there's four or five designs from Pineberry Lane Little Shamrocks. And the whole piece is not fully finished, but there's a reason I wanted to show you some tips before I put it all together. I'm not a finisher, so these are things that I have figured out that have been helpful to me, and I thought it would be helpful to you, but I'm not going to be doing any finishing videos. So I think I mentioned before that I figured out my edges, how far away the edge was from the design so that I could keep it centered properly. And I did a running stitch. So I purposely did a running stitch in a dark color so you could see it. And my other finishes I did, one of them I did all the way across. And then I ended up, it was almost the color of the fabric, so I didn't remove it. But sometimes it can show depending on what kind of trim you have on it, so that's not the best way. Then another one, I started on one corner and I went all the way around, and I thought, well, I'll just clip it and pull it out, but I couldn't because I used the stitchery tape the way they suggested on the packaging, and that was to wrap it around 1/8 of an inch to the front of the board and leave the rest on the back. So then there's actually tape on the edge, and then you can't remove your basting stitches because they're stuck to the tape. Okay, so I found that out the hard way. But anyway, if you figure out your edges and just do like an over 4, under 4, if you do it in a similar color, you might not even have to remove it. But anyway, then it's easy enough to just pull out, okay? And then I always think the back is tricky to do in the corners when it's not pinned. And since I have some framing experience, I would rather pin, but sometimes there are occasions where you won't be able to fit the thicker foam core into the frame, or in this case, I'm mounting it on top of something and I didn't want it to be that thick, so I'm using mat board. This has a layer of fleece. I don't think I mentioned that. So I also thought that might be easier to get it looking straight if there was some fleece softening the edges. So anyway, there are different ways. There's like 3 different ways of doing the corner, and maybe next time I will have a corner done all 3 ways so you can see. But anyway, this is one of the ways where you tuck down the corner first, and then you fold the sides over. But I always feel like the very corner isn't as precise, and so I just stitch it closed so it stays. With pins, you don't really have to do that because there's a pin all the way into the corner, but in this case, you know, instead, I don't know how much tape you have to put under there, to get it to work. But anyway, so I just kind of stitched the corner together. And I am going to put tape on the back to keep it all neat, but I only have the stitchery tape that's double-sided. I don't have the other tape that you don't remove the backing. And I could use this, but I'm sure this is more expensive. So this is the tape that we get from Yarn Tree. This is 1.5 inches wide. And this is the It's So Emma tape, and this is 3/4 inch wide. Now, if you get this one, you can just cut it, but the more you cut with your craft scissors, the more tape you get on it. So I think it's nice to have both widths. All right, so what I'm doing with this is I had this frame in my stash. It's actually a Mill Hill. I don't remember what I had it for, but it was in my frame stash at home. This fabric was in my Christmas stash. It's not really Christmas fabric, but I guess it matched some of the other greens in this series. But I thought the colors worked well for this. So what I'm going to do after I get the back taped is this is going to go in the center, and I think it's going to have rickrack underneath it to soften the edges a little bit. So that's the first one. Oh my goodness, that took a longer than I thought. Okay, then the second one that I finished was this Full Moon from Drawn Thread. This was also from Mania 2019. And it is pretty much finished, except somehow along the way I misplaced the button that goes there. I forgot what am I doing today? I forgot my whiteboard. Sorry about that. Let's just fold that under. Okay, now you can't see through it. So the button just gets sewn on for the spider's body. And I didn't use all of the same colors, but I did use silk. So I used the few colors of Dinky Dyes that it called for. That would be the pumpkin, the leaves, and the crow, raven, whatever you want to call him. And the moon is a needlepoint ink silk, but I realized later I must not have had the color it called for, or else I didn't like the way it looked on my fabric. So I used a little bit brighter color, and then it used a completely different yellow for these flowers, and I thought, why? So I used the same yellow for those flowers, and then because the gold was only the legs and the beak, I just used a solid color. I think I actually used DMC for that. Okay, so then I thought I'd show you, I know I showed you this last year sometime because my framer had done one, and I thought it would be fun to show you both together so that you could maybe see the color difference. She did hers in the recommended Gentle Art substitutes. So her moon is a little more subtle, but I'm okay with mine, and I like the fact that I did mine on a different fabric. I didn't know she was stitching it, or I didn't remember that she bought the chart, so this will be fun to have two models. Hers is in a signed and numbered frame, and mine is going to go in the black circular box. So there'll be different finishes, but anyway, so I finished that except for the button, but I'm calling it done. Then the next one was part of Freebie February last year. I guess I'll use the back side of that. This is From Our House to Yours from the Scarlet House. And I pretty much had just done the brick house. So I finished all of the rest. I did change a few of the colors. And I think that's really cute. I think they look like little dogs pretending to be reindeer. Tanya has dogs, so I don't know if that's what it is or if they're just really sweet little baby reindeer, but since I have dogs, I like to think they're dogs dressed up as reindeer. So I'm really happy with that. I don't know what I'll do. I was thinking of maybe an easel, but I'm going to see what fabric I have in my stash. Then the next one was also from Freebie February last year, and I did work on it a couple times. I think I had shown it once or twice. And it's called Christmas Time, and the chart was from 2011 from the Primitive Hair. And what did I have to do? I had to do the stars at the top of the tree. I had to finish the snow and the snowflakes. And you can't tell, but I did the snowflakes in Smyrna Cross just so they would look a little more like a snowball. They have a different shape than just the X. And then the Santa, the original design, had the top 4 stitches of the inset of the Santa. It had those as the same color as the stars. And I thought his face, it wasn't the color I wanted it to be, so I just used a flesh colored DMC for that. So that's done. Yay! Since I'm starting Freebie February tomorrow, I needed to finish some of these. And this, I should have shown this first. This is the oldest one. And it actually was finished except for tying off my tails, because the darker color I did with one strand, where I do each leg of the stitch twice, so that way there wasn't as much thread being carried. And those of you who have been watching for a while will be confused, because yes, I stitched it again. Did not remember that I had even stitched this, but I found it when I was cleaning my craft room. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I'm thinking since the other one is custom framed, this will probably be a small. And I did them in different colors on different colored fabric. I thought about giving it away, and then I'm like, well, no, I have a strawberry collection, so I'll just finish it a different way and, you know, put it on different shelves or whatever. So that was kind of a strange find. And then the last one, so I had 6 for today because I did my video a day late last week, so I only have to show you 6, and then it made 31. And this one is Patriotic Home from Homespun Elegance, also part of Freebie February last year. And I had only done the brown in the house. And maybe the green grass. That's all I did. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but the house and the grass and the door are done with 2 strands. And so far, the rest is done in 1. Because, for heaven's sakes, people, 32, sometimes 2 strands looks good, and sometimes it's just too thick and bulky. And it probably depends on the fabric, on whether it's tightly woven or thicker. Sometimes Lugana or Joblin is different from linen, and the linen is different if it's hand-dyed because it shrunk more. And there's different linens that are woven differently. The Permin is not the same as the Zweigart base. So I was really struggling this month with all the projects I had started on 32 count with 2 strands. I'm making myself a promise this year that I'm going to stitch more with just 1 strand. The end. That's my plan. I'm going to thank myself when this year is over. And so I think it's going to be okay. I'm not going to take the house out. I decided that since the house is a prominent feature, that would be okay if the house and the roof and the grass underneath it were 2 strands and everything else in the picture. Oh, I didn't show you here's the whole design. So I'm going to finish the flowers and do the flag, the tree, and what's at the top, and those are all going to be on just using 1 strand, and I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right, I have talked too long, way too long, and redid a few sections, so I need some editing done, and then I will go home and finish that one. So even though that's not done, I knew I still had the evening to stitch. So I'm counting that as my 31st finished stitching for January. So, okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.